Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today is the Man Child. Okay, so today for review, I finally got in my Masters of the Universe, Masterverse. We got the He-Man from New Adventures, or the Galactic Protector He-Man, I want to call him. So if you're not familiar, this figure's going back to the New Adventures He-Man. Came out, I think it was in the late 80s. I think it was like late 89 to 1990. It ran from, I didn't even know existed. I didn't find out 2 years later as I started collecting the classics, and the classics started bringing in the New Adventure, He-Man, Skeletor, all the mutants, which I got most of them. They're around in my collection somewhere, but that's kind of where this He-Man was inspired from. And the cartoon, basically, he went. I think it was supposed to take place after the original animation, and Skeletor goes to space, and he goes in space. There's like the Starship Eternia, all that good stuff. Now, again, I'm not real familiar with the cartoon. When I got into classics and I started collecting these characters to finish up that line. Of course, I went on YouTube and looked up the New Adventures He-Man, seen a cartoon. Yeah, I didn't like it. It wasn't for me, to be honest with you. But I always am up for new characters and variants, whether it's a He-Man or Skeletor or something new. And the classics line really did a cool, good job with that, mixing all these different characters in that world or that line. So the Masterverse is doing the same thing, but that's where this He-Man more or less came from. Now, he is a Target exclusive. Yeah, I pre-ordered mine like 7, 8 months ago. It still hasn't shipped. So I just canceled my order. I found him elsewhere online, and he is being found now in a lot of your local Targets, like in the California area, West Coast area, from images and people I've spoke to on Instagram. So if you live in that area, maybe go check your Targets out, and hopefully he's coming to other Targets in the Midwest and the East Coast soon. And here's a quick look on back of the box of some of the art of the Galactic Protector He-Man with the this armor he comes with. Now, I don't know if this was like a cosmic or their version of battle armor for this He-Man, and this one also has a helmet on as well. And here's a quick look at the bio. You want to pause and read that. And I think so. The new planet was Primus instead of Eternia, so that's where the new Skeletor's mutants and He-Man was fighting on. And dropping down, these are all 4 figures that was part of this Wave 7 series. So this Target exclusive Galactic He-Man was part of Wave 7. Here's some more additional art on the right-hand side of the box, how the He-Man is set up inside the package. And here's a quick look around with this New Adventures He-Man, all his accessories at a box. And bringing in this new Galactic He-Man for a closer look as far as the face and head sculpt is done. Yeah, really cool. Just like a lot of newer Masterverse figures, I like the way the eyes are done on this figure. Almost look like stickers in there or something, but assuming it's just paint. He has a little smirk on here, so a semi-open grin, I want to call it, where it's not just a total closed mouth grin or over the top yelling face, so that works for his He-Man. He's got, there's his hair sculpt design, pretty cool. Now obviously the hair is pulled back. He has a ponytail going. I'll show that in a second. And it's a dark blonde color with some highlights. So yeah, obviously a whole different redesign with the New Adventures He-Man Skeletor than what we were used to seeing in the older vintage animation, and that's where this storyline was supposed to pick up from going years later in the future. So I'm assuming now this He-Man is just an older version, and this is what they look like. But at the same time, I guess they were trying to market these figures and characters what a lot of the action heroes look like in the 90s, with that type of hair, ponytail going, stuff like that. And some of the figures, too, I remember seeing them years later, and they were like, it's almost like they went from the bulk over the top He-Man figures in the vintage line were just so cool, and they were just so unique, even to this day, and to this little scrawny Star Wars looking, something going back to Star Wars toys or something reminding me of. From what I seen years later, I didn't like them. But it's cool now to see this newer He-Man in this Masterverse style. As far as the articulation with the head, so we can go, let's see, go all the way left, right, down, and back about that far. He is hindered because of this ponytail. So checking out the back of the head there, yeah, you got the little ponytail, it's soft, got a little band on it there. It's just all part of the sculpt. And that's, yeah, really flexible. It doesn't, right? It doesn't come off. No, it's all part of you got to watch. Mine looks like it's ready to pull on it. It's going to break off. You don't mess with that. But yeah, it's all part of the sculpt. You kind of see it all cuts in back of the head and how it moves with the articulation. So moving down to his chest and the buck area. So it's just a typical Masterverse style buck, similar like Triclops and the newer He-Man figures come with. Now he does have this new style cross armored. Right, you can see that there's a front and a back. And so let's see how it articulates with the armor on. So as far as the upper buck, we can twist left to right. Go forward about that far and back. And as far as the armor, we know he spins at the waist. So here's a better, closer look at the armor. You want to check that out. Yeah, red, got a gold plate all up in here. Some other details all in red. You can see there, spinning it back around. So you see the sword. We'll get to the sword in a little bit, but there's the holder for the sword. And it looks like it's just going to pop at the buckle here like this to remove it. And then slide it right down the left side. And here's a quick look what Galactic came in with the armored off, right? The buck. So that's the front and back. And the articulation is all the same. And with the armored off, here's a close-up look at it. So we already looked at the details in the front. You can see how soft, flexible it is. We know that's the sword holder, and the one has the one buckle here. So leaving the armored off for a minute, we'll just go up to the arms here. So the arms, same style, sculpt. It's all the same as most of the Masterverse Galactic or He-Man figures. But as far as the articulation, everything we've seen before can go all the way out, down, forward, back. Has a bicep swivel. Can bend over the elbow like this up towards the face. Now, he does come with, you can see a gold wrist bracer on this side. Has its own unique design for this He-Man. And looks like it's a separate bracer, but it's glued on. I see this a lot with, kind of reminds me of the Battle Armored He-Man, New Eternity Battle Armored He-Man, something like that. So you can kind of see, because I can see the skin underneath it, I think. Let's pull the hand off for a minute. So with the hand off, yeah, you can see the skin underneath the bracer. So this can come off if you want to customize it somehow, but I don't know if it's going to be a normal forearm underneath. Usually they have a weird peg that goes in there. They're glued, from what I noticed from some of the figures I try to take apart. So putting the right hand back on. Now this hand, now of course we know all the hands can spin. The other side's the same. But this one has the hinge joint that goes up and down, not in and out. The raised, the power of the sword, call upon a power kind of thing. And the hand on the left side, that has the hinge joint that goes in and out. And they're obviously both semi-gripping weapon hands. And moving over to the left arm, articulation, everything's all the same, except for this one has a different bracer now. We already talked about the hand, but see, this has that. This is the same exact bracer that came with the, New Eternity Battle Armored He-Man, and his energy shield's going to go in this, which we'll bring in soon. You can see how it plugs in. And this, too, it doesn't look like it's going to come off. It's its own, it's like pegged or glued in, just to kind of show you, but it is a separate bracer. So moving down to the waist and legs to finish the articulation up. So it's got a pretty cool belt here. It's all part of the sculpt. Doesn't come off. There's like the symbol of the H or he here on a plate. It's all gold, and this is silver, and the H is gold. It's got like a typical loin pad cloth kind of thing. It's the front and back. I don't know. Yeah, it goes all the way around. It's not separated. It's got some cool blue pants going, and yeah, it would be neat if the Masterverse could split at the waist, so you could put some pants on He-Man or your original He-Man or another figure if you wanted to, but like the Origins do, but these guys don't. But as far as the articulation with the legs, so let's see, you can go all the way out, do a split, go forward, back, bend all the way up at the knee. Can spin at the boots, got these cool gold space boots, like a metallic gold color, match the bracers up on the wrists. And you can heat and take these off. These have a big peg in there. I like the design up here, there's little points. And then moving down to the foot, so the foot can spin and go down and up about that far. Mine are stuck. How's the other side? All right, same thing. So something like that, right up and down, rock side to side. So real quick, taking a close look at this belt, I thought it was part of the sculpt with this loin pad or cloth thing pad, but it's not. It's actually separate, but it's not like, it doesn't separate. It would have to be one of them things I guess you would have to heat and pry off around. If you're familiar with how some of the loin cloths can come off these figures, which is a job. But it can come off, if you were to heat and pull it over down a pants, separate the leg. Yeah, it's its own piece. So as far as accessories for this new Galactic He-Man, we get a spare pair of complete punching fists for both the left and right side. And they have the hinge joints that go in and out like this. Next we get his laser-powered energy sword. Check that out, it's pretty cool. I love weapons that are translucent, glow, look like a Star Wars lightsaber or something like that. So you do get that, pretty cool. It's all gold handle. Obviously it's all translucent green. Then you get this awesome translucent energy shield. Check that out. So this has the piece that's going to go onto that bracer. I'll show you in a second, but take a look at that. It's real hard plastic, green translucent. So getting back to the bracer and shield, just going to push in like this. And then all it can really do is just spin. Going back to the New Eternity Battle Armored He-Man, the shield was the same way. A lot of people didn't like that. I mean, you can, position it because of all the articulation this guy has, but it can't roll because the bracer can't roll, nothing like that. So it's kind of, it's going to be in a position, something like this, fighting. And we'll put the power sword in the right hand. And here's a quick look with the sword and shield in hand. And I raised the sword up as best I can get it with that hinge joint with the hand, his face looking up, calling upon the power or something like that. It's best my figure can seem to pose. And then the sword can go right in the back and a sword holder like that. So moving on to two more accessories that Galactic He-Man comes with. You got this space helmet. It's all done in a metallic gold, and this is pretty soft, so that's cool because not only will it fit on his head, but it might fit on other He-Man heads. We'll try a couple out. Then you also get his cosmic armor or battle armor. That's pretty cool. Good detail. See all the sculpting. Has some extra paint details up in here. That's also, yeah, pretty soft piece. And it has two straps on the left and right side. You can see how that moves. And looks like you have to position through the head first and then snap it over. So we'll put the armor piece over first. All right, so it should go down something like that, right? Pop. Let's see if do we have to remove the head. Nope, go right over the head. And then these two little buckle straps will snap. And we'll snap that one on the side as well. So here's a quick look at what Galactic came in with that armored on without the helmet. You want to see that. And of course, the sword and shield in hand. Yeah, it fits pretty cool. Articulation is all the same at the waist, the front and the back. And there's also a sword holder in the back as well. And the sword now will go down like this. Now we'll put the helmet on the head. Oh, it goes right down like that. Easy. Check that out. Articulation, left, right, go down and up. Here's a look at the new Adventures Galactic came in with his battle armor, helmet, sword, and shield in hand. Here's a quick comparison with our Masterverse New Adventures Galactic He-Man against our Origins Galactic He-Man. I'm going to try to change some parts around and see what works on these two. So here's a quick look with the Masterverse head on the Origins body. Looks really cool. The skin works well. Now I'm just using this body for example. You can use the other regular He-Man body. Not everybody has this figure because it's exclusive and hard to get, which is annoying. But since I pulled mine out of car, I just wanted to show you what the head looks like on this body. So with the head on the Origins figure, let's take this armor piece off and see if the Masterverse armor fits on the Origins. So the Origins, you're going to split him in half like this, and this armor comes off this way. And here's a look with that Masterverse armored on the Origins body. Fits perfect. So taking the head off for a second, let's see if this battle armor, cosmic armor fits on the Origins body. So we'll slip it down like that. Okay, and here's a quick look at that battle armor on the Origins body. Yeah, that fits perfect too. The buckle snap on both sides, and of course I put the Origins head back on. We could do a whole video with heads and armors and this and that on bodies, but just to give you an example. I'll check that out. So using this Origins head with this helmet, I'm just curious, because this is a wider head. You can see that, how narrow the Masterverse one is. But I wonder if this helmet fits on this hair. How does that look? All right, yeah, it kind of fits a little. You got to mess around with it, but it does work. So I popped on the vintage-inspired Origins regular He-Man head on those Origins New Adventures body, because everybody pretty much has this one. I'm curious, does the helmet fit this head here too? This head's really wide. See what that looks like. If you had that head, body, get this armor. Okay, it works. Looks a little, you know, because of the hair. You got to, again, adjust it, move it around, but you want it to work, it can. And real quick, bring it back in a Masterverse body, no armored on. I just threw in that New Adventures Origins head. I want to check that out, how it works. Don't look bad. It's a little loose, but can work with the skin tone. If you want to hide that figure, want to use that head on this body for some reason. Here's that vintage Origins head on this Masterverse New Adventures body. Yeah, it looks okay. The skin matches well. It's really sloppy, though. It just might be something with this head, but you want to check that out. Yeah, the neck is really on an angle, so it's doesn't work well with this particular head. So moving back to the Masterverse body, I just put this cosmic armor back on. We already went over everything I could think of with the Origins side, trying more heads. Of course, this armor piece isn't going to work on this Masterverse because you have to break the waist. They don't break at the waist. But going into some other heads, so this is the 40th anniversary head on this body with this armor on. You want to check that out. Looks pretty cool. The skin tone's off. It always was on my figure. But you want to see how articulation looks. There it is. And let's see if that helmet will go on his 40th anniversary head. Want to mess around with that. Yeah, it kind of can. It's flexible enough. Looks a little goofy because the hair's so out and it bends the helmet out. But if you want to use it, could work. I also threw that new Eternity Viking He-Man head, the spare unhelmeted head on the body. This seems to work good on anything, just with the complexion, the color in the skin. But that's good articulation. Check that out. And then the helmet, see how that fits on that head. All right, not bad. Pretty cool. Same thing, the hair's out, but can make it work. And also, this armor does not fit on the 40th anniversary body. I had the head out here. The body's in the house, but yeah, it didn't. It was too tight. It didn't work. Couldn't get the straps, you know, to buckle. So moving on to a little He-Man classics. We got a classic He-Man here. Yeah, obviously his cross armored off. So I threw the sword in hand, and I can't do anything with the shield because it needs that bracer. Unfortunately, just use his regular shield. But just the armored on this He-Man here on the buck. It fits perfect. Articulations, front and back. All right, so removing that regular armored and head, let's see how this space armor works on the classics. Okay, and we got that Masterverse armored on the classics buck on He-Man. Looks pretty cool, works good. Can articulate the waist. I did have to, yeah, see, it does a little gap here. I had to mess around with it because it's how wide your buck is, but it does work. And then let's see how this helmet goes on this classic He-Man head. Put that out. Okay, same thing, just it's so wide in here. But you can make it work because how flexible his helmet is. Just got to mess around with it. And here's everything set up on the classics. So for one last thing, I set the Masterverse New Adventures He-Man all back up with the armored helmet on. Just threw him on my Classics Battle Cat. I think it looks cool in that. In that New Adventures show, I don't even think there was a Battle Cat. And I like the way the saddle is on this one. Better than Masterverse Cat, but yeah, check it out. So overall in hand, I think this new Masterverse, New Adventures He-Man is pretty cool, you know? Definitely different and unique. I mean, it's nothing close to the typical He-Man, the Classics He-Man here we're used to, going back to the vintage-inspired He-Man. His own thing, and to be fair, that's what the cartoon was doing. It was supposed to be this He-Man or the Filmation He-Man in the future and what he would look like. So it's basically where he's, what we got here. But, you know, what's cool is the armored and the helmet and stuff like that can go on the Classics body and the Origins. So that's neat. I like the energy, the shield and sword, but it'd be cool if this could move up and down. So it's kind of prefixed, very similar to that new Eternity Battle Armored He-Man. A lot of people didn't like that. It's okay, you know, I don't mind it, but that they did the same setup. Aside that, you know, if you like that cartoon or He-Man in the future, go pick one up at your local Target when you can find them. So some people now in the California area, West Coast, are finding these now in Target stores. In Target online, if you pre-order them, I think it said the ship date now is March 2nd, to where not that long ago, there was no ship date, so now it's March 2nd. So hopefully you pre-ordered them, it will ship out on that date. Otherwise, I think it's pretty cool. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, take care.